We now know who will be playing in the 2021 Stanley Cup Final. Tampa will go for two in a row, while Montreal tries to bring Canada their first team Stanley Cup since 1993. We'll talk about all of that and more. This is Teal Town Live. Good evening, everyone. It is Friday night, June 25th, 2021. The Lightning win 1-0 on a shorthanded goal in Game 7 thanks to Yanni Gourde. They advance to the Stanley Cup Final for their second year in a row, and we welcome you to this edition of Teal Town Live. This is your live interactive post-game show for the Stanley Cup semifinals. So if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Chat with us and fellow hockey fans on the page or the app. And follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Discord, and of course find everything at tealtownusa.com. Pleased to be joined by Ian Reed. Ian, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. So we have our matchup, Montreal, Tampa Bay.
Just like we all predicted.
Exactly. I mean, totally what we expected here. What a crazy, thrilling game, and it came down to the finish too. Islanders had some chances, but Yanni Gourde, San Francisco Bull, Yanni Gourde with the lone goal in this one.
Yeah. I mean, not the most exciting Game 7 I've ever watched. I'm gonna say that. But I give a lot of credit to the Islanders. I thought the Islanders really pushed. I mean, they could have completely rolled over after getting absolutely destroyed in Game 5. Came back in Game 6 and pushed it to 7. So I mean, I think full marks to the Islanders. I think it would have been nice to see. It would have been nice to see like Nassau go out on a cup final, but I think given Game 6 and how that went, I think it's probably not the ending that Islanders fans wanted for Nassau Coliseum, but I could think of worse ways to go out in your last home game.
Right? I mean, what a thrilling finish or last game in Nassau with the Game 6 overtime winner there by Anthony Beauvillier, but not enough for them to get over the hump per se. But honestly, this was a great series. I thought these teams went back and forth. Yeah, there was that one-sided game, 8-1, in Game 5. But I thought both of these teams played pretty evenly in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, the Islanders are a funny team, right? Because, you would think that they're getting that they're massively outplayed in some games, and I think it's just because Tampa's so good at blocking shots. But the shots on goal, I think aren't kind of indicative of the Islanders in some senses. But I mean, this team I think they just need I think the Islanders, if they're going to get over the hump, they need to add a little more dimensions. I feel like when Matt Barzal's going, then the team goes, but they probably need another couple of options that they can count on other than just having Matt Barzal do everything.
Yeah, and to consider what they've gone through for the last couple of years, I mean, there are several people that once John Tavares took off for Toronto, that this team was going to be needing to go into full rebuild mode. But back-to-back appearances in the third round.
Yep.
You basically did it without your captain Anders Lee. I thought overall they were a pretty solid team, but just couldn't get it over the hump there, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're going to need to tinker a little bit, but I mean, there's the foundation's there. Like, I don't think the Islanders are going to go anywhere next year. I think they'll be right in the mix again. With that, and I say that without looking at what they have, but I feel like all the pieces they have are in place. It's just an issue now of, they got to find in a couple of more dimensions, so that I said, like, when Matt Barzal's going, like, this team doesn't look like it can be stopped, but you need answers under cap friendly quick here just to see what's coming up for them.
Gotcha. I'll get to some of the comments in the chat here. Kathy,
For
good
sure.
evening to you. Good to see you at the equipment sale a couple of weeks ago. Bozosaurus 666. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm rooting for Corey Perry. Let's go Habs. Felix, what's happening, bud? Marty T. Goodrow single-handedly tying up 4 Islanders and killing like 30 seconds in the ozone with an empty net. Huge play there.
Yeah, he's gonna get paid next year, I think.
Yeah.
I'm like not super paid, obviously. Like, I don't think he's gonna turn around and, like, $7 million Barclay Goodrow. But yeah, I think
We've seen crazier signings.
yeah, Barclay Goodrow's not gonna be a $7 million player, but I think he's gonna get, like, I think a lot of teams are gonna be calling about Goodrow if Tampa can't
Big
get
time.
him back. And Tampa's obviously has some things they need to work out, since they're a little bit over the just a teeny bit over the salary cap, just teeny wee bit.
As AJ would say, just a skosh. Only what?
Just
17 million over.
$17 million over the salary cap. I mean,
Oh, Stamkos will take the full season off and they'll be fine. Yeah. Oh boy. But yeah, I mean, full credit to Barclay Goodrow on that one with the empty netter. He could have wrapped it up there, but rather than that, kill time and Islanders couldn't get on there. So that was quite interesting to see. But I thought they had a couple of chances, but
yeah. So the Islanders have to do some stuff. Like, they've got some decisions to make, and they don't look like they have a ton of cap space to play with. So it'll be interesting to see what they come back with. But I think, like, Varlamov was so good.
Yeah.
This playoff, like, what a series for him. I mean, that was like Varlamov. I think when they weren't getting anything with their offense going, like, Varlamov kept them in the game as well as you could expect them to. So it'd be interesting to see.
Oh, absolutely, and it'll be
See him going forward too.
And with a very full Metro that they're going to be going back into next season, it's going to be tight in there. I mean, so we'll see what happens in that one. Rob's saying, is it time to talk about dynasty if Tampa wins back-to-back cups? Considering how Tampa's been over the last few years, they've been in it for quite some time. I mean, 2015 they lose in the Cup final to Chicago. 2016 they lose in Game 7 to Pittsburgh in the Eastern Conference Final. 2017 I think they were off. 2018 they were off, or they didn't. They lost to Washington in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final. 2019. Refresh me on 2019. Would they go up against Boston or no? I don't think they.
I'm drawing a blank. I don't what there was years before 2020. I don't know. 2020 lasted 7 years. I don't know.
You're right. But I mean, in 2020 they won in the bubble. So
yeah.
And now here's that. I mean, obviously, I think it goes without saying that they're probably the most successful of the 90s expansion teams. I mean, we would love to toot the Sharks' horn, and they can give you some love.
2019, they were eliminated by the Blue Jackets in the first round, were they not?
Oh, that's right. That's when they were swept as the President's Trophy winner for the first time ever. That's right. How can I not forget the little note on Twitter that was quoted many times over. Yeah, so I mean, very dominant team. They've been dominant for a number of years, and now they're going to be going for a title defense with two with two Stanley Cups in a row, going up against the upstart Montreal Canadiens. And so here's a schedule for you folks if you haven't seen it already. Game one, and this is interesting, folks. You're going to enjoy the weekend off without hockey for some strange reason. Game one is Monday night in Tampa. That's at 5. And all these games are at 5 p.m. except for Game 7, which is a typo there. It should read 4 p.m. For Game 7 if necessary. Game 1, Monday at 5 p.m., or if you're in Ian's neck of the woods, 8 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday for Game 2 in Tampa. The series shifts to Montreal on Friday for Game 3. They'll take the weekend off, come back Monday for Game 4, and then, if necessary, Game 5, Wednesday the 7th, Friday the 9th, and then that should be Sunday, July 11th at 4 p.m. For that series. The first two, if you're in the States, will be on NBCSN. It'll be their swan song on the cable side. And then NBC will be taking it the rest of the way for games 3 through 7 for that series. So I guess let's get into this, Ian. For Montreal against Tampa Bay, it's the third time they'll be meeting in the playoffs. The last time they met back-to-back years, 2014-15. Obviously, outside Carey Price, there's very few pieces from there. But
obviously, yeah.
What says you about this series? This should be a good one with two solid goaltenders in Vasilevsky and Price.
Yep.
You have some talent up forward wise. You definitely have probably some of the most dominant defensemen in the league with Shea Weber and Victor Hedman.
It's a weird one, right? Like I'm totally. I'm tired of going against the Canadians, right? Like when they beat the Leafs, they're like, okay, well, they lost Tavares and then they couldn't get their forwards going,
right?
But like now knowing what we know, watching what they just did to Vegas, like I wonder if that changes the perception around that first round for the Leafs, right? Like maybe we're not throwing Mitch Marner off a cliff into shark-infested waters, hoping to never see him again. Like I'm curious to see how, if that it probably hasn't, but it's an interesting thought, right? With how Montreal shut down the Vegas Golden Knights. If maybe the Toronto is like, well, if Kyle Dubas is like, well, maybe our forwards weren't so bad after all. But I mean, after that series, and then they go and play the Winnipeg Jets, when the Winnipeg Jets were kind of banged up, and so you go against them because you're like, well, you don't foresee Dylan DeMello going down game one. You don't foresee the Scheifele suspension, which completely shorted out their offense.
Absolutely.
And then you look at that and you're like, okay, well, are they for real, or did they just take advantage of a situation that got it? And my take on that was they just took advantage of the situation as it fell, right?
Right.
Mark Scheifele was a big part of the Jets offense, and you put him out. So you're like, oh, well, then the Golden Knights, after what they did to Colorado, they're going to take care of business in Montreal. Montreal wins again. If they can, I thought Colorado was obviously one of the best teams in the league this year. Vegas, and Vegas handled Colorado pretty handedly. So I thought, oh, well, there's no way Montreal can beat Vegas, but here we are. Montreal's in the Stanley Cup final. I'm running out of ways to tell you that Montreal shouldn't be here.
Right.
Or they shouldn't win. Like, I think Tampa's also a really good team, and yeah, they're a little just teeny bit over the salary cap, but after what they did to Vegas, could they do that to Tampa Bay? I can't. I'm having a hard time making an argument as to why they couldn't do that to Tampa Bay. Like I don't know what I have, right? Like Amos saying bet the under. Yeah, I'd probably bet the under in the series for sure. But yeah, I mean, I am running out of ways to tell you that Montreal doesn't belong here and that Montreal isn't going to win. I'm out of reasons. And it's funny because it kind of goes back to what I said when we did the second round preview, and I said whoever wins between Tampa, Carolina is winning the cup. I mean, it seemed like a good thing to say at the time, but I, and they still might. But to me, like, again, I'm running out of ways that I can come on here and intelligently tell you that Montreal doesn't have a chance here. I think they have a chance. I think they have a great chance if they could shut down Vegas the way they did. And we watched the Islanders. I mean, this was a game 7. It was a 1-0 game.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be done. You can shut down this Tampa offense, and Montreal's been doing that better than anyone in the playoffs, shutting down offenses. So to me, I think it's Montreal, and I know they're really mad because they don't want everyone jumping on the bandwagon now, but I can't sit here and intelligently explain why Montreal's going to lose, so I'm not going to try.
So you're going Habs in what?
6.
6. Oh, they're going to win it in Montreal and burn the city
Yep.
down at the same time.
And
Boy.
burn the city to the ground.
Oh boy. Wow. Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be Islanders Habs to make this a little bit easier, but it's tough. It's tough because Tampa, I think, is definitely the stronger opponent for Montreal. I think.
Yeah, and they're defending Cup champions. They're a deeper lineup for sure
Yeah.
than that Montreal faced in. They're probably a deeper lineup than they faced in Vegas. I mean, you could definitely go that route.
Yeah, and you have the likes of everybody contributing along with Kucherov. I mean, that's totally, randomly being in with such offensive power, you know. Uh, and Jerk, hey Jerk, if you want to come on, get on Skype, bud. We would love to have you, bud. Jerk's saying the reason why Montreal is in the final because Bergevin has worn that red suit in all 3 clinching games. And anyone who complains or mentions Tampa being over the cap is legally required to make a super chat or Venmo donation. I don't make the rules. He might, especially on the Discord. So, Montreal's got a shot. To me, I want this series to go 7 games. I would love to.
No, it's got to end before I go on vacation. It's got to end in 6.
I'm sorry. I think you're gonna have to postpone your vacation. I think it's good.
No.
In that night, it might go longer. I'm going for serene points. Okay, I'm gonna say this series goes game 7 and it goes into overtime. And I'll say Yanni Gord gets the cup winning goal in game 7 overtime. I'll pick the Bolts, but I'm shakingly picking the Bolts in 7 games. Because I just think they're just a tinge better. Just a tinge better.
I mean, I don't disagree. Like, on paper, they're the much better team.
Yeah.
On paper. Like, I don't disagree. It's challenging. I've run out of intelligent ways to tell you why this Montreal team's going to lose. And I now that we're in like the final round 2, like, Carey Price is the only thing Carey Price hasn't won.
Yeah. And don't think he's not going to bring his A game for it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
I think he's shown that whoever the opponent is, let's go. So it's good to see. Good to see. So I look better in blue than red, so I get it. Well, I'm wearing black tonight, and that's mainly for Yanni Gord. For those who doing the know the knowledge, Yanni Gord, former San Francisco Bull. So I'm rocking the San Francisco Bull jersey tonight. So definitely loving that. But I it's a toss up. I would love Montreal to win it. It'd be a shocker. I To me, Montreal, I think, has you know, very similar to the 2012 LA Kings. You know, the last seed to get in. The, you know, they swept their second round opponent. They took down a Canadian rival in the first round. I think I saw this on Instagram earlier today. Uh, Goaltending has been phenomenal, led by a defensive system. Hell, they even replaced their coach early in the season, and that's where the comparisons are at. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
It's interesting, yeah.
yeah, I mean, you'd hear about everybody talking about '93 and everything, but 2012, it's I think there's a similarity with Los Angeles, and if they get on Tampa early, this series will go long. I mean, look what the Islanders did. The Islanders, won game one, got them a little shaky, came back to win game four, and really pushed them a bit too. Um, so it's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be a fun series. I think it's gonna be a great series. Uh, we can almost had it called the Le Cavalier Bowl, since he was kind of being hinted at to go to Tampa near the end of his career. So we'll see on that. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. Like it's gonna be it's been such a weird playoff. Um but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, it's something else. I mean, looking at what obviously Tampa getting through what they've, getting through back into the final after being there last year, and having to go through the Islanders again to get there. I mean, there's so many. It's funny because going into the there, I'm like, what are the good stories? And you know, we got some really neat stories here. Like you've got Tampa looking to go back to back. Now you've got Montreal, the absolute Cinderella team at this point. And I hate the Canada's team, Canada's cup, blah, whatever. I don't give a damn. But I mean, it is an interesting storyline of can Montreal win bring a cup back north of the border for the first time since they did it last time, where other teams have tried and failed. I mean, it's going to be interesting, and I'm curious to see who, like, the people cheer for it, like how that's going to go down. Like, I'm curious to watch my feed and see who's cheering for who, because I know Habs fans can be pretty obnoxious sometimes, and right next to Golden Knights fans, but Vegas is the bad guy, right? They're the team that's over the cap, so
right. So yeah, you have the team that's 17 million over the cap. You have Montreal, who could be obnoxious. I mean, there's some issues back and forth that teams can't jump on the bandwagon with. I mean, but at the same time, it's like you look at what Montreal's accomplished. In a
Mhm.
regular, like we mentioned last night, a regular format, they're not in. Some other teams are in.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like, and I was saying this like yesterday. I don't know if it was on the show yesterday or in Discord. It was like I have a hard time like when I was gonna come on here and make like my prediction, knowing that it was gonna be prediction time. I'm like, it's hard to reconcile being like I think this team is gonna win the Stanley Cup when I'm not even sure they're gonna make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
But here we are.
And that's kind of the thing with me about uh, with the Sharks doing the reset, is that there's this
Yeah.
one year that's there's this abnormally,
Hmm.
and you can go ahead and rebuild, because I mean we all, what did we say? We knew that at least the top three teams that are getting into the playoffs, and then one more to fight for. And yeah, the Sharks were in it back in April before they had their tailspin, but
Right.
I mean, this 56 game season is kind of like an anomaly where you can kind of reset things a little bit and then go for it. And for some teams, you can go for it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Frank Saravelli had mentioned he thought Montreal could steal the North, And now look at it today. Uh, I think there was a lot of people saying, "Hey, after their success in the bubble, Vancouver can make a run," and that kind of dissipated. So it balance. I mean, you can have a balance of such, but yeah, you take your chance on this 1 year, and this 1 year, honestly, is probably as we said last night again, probably saved Mark Bergevin's job with the success for what they did this season.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yep. No, definitely.
along
And it's crazy because all with the you know, Montreal, not only do they with everything that they've dealt with, but also they have like their interim head coach is not able to be there. I mean, hopefully he'll be back sooner than later before this thing's over. And you've got the interim assistant running the bench. I mean, it's just there's lots of really just wild stuff going on.
uh, which begs the question: does Luke Richardson get calls for Buffalo and the Desert
I
Dogs?
wonder. Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder. I
Or
mean, there's a couple vacancies left, but I feel like Montreal has the money that if they, are they gonna? I feel like they'll be able to match anything any other team offers, unless they really want to go for the head coaching job. But it'll be interesting for sure.
yeah, or they say, hey, why why am I blanking on Montreal's interim coach? Dominic
Uh, Ducharme.
Ducharme. Thank you. It's like I almost said, Duche. Uh, hey, you did great. Now go back to Laval. Uh, but she's like, oh man, that'd be a tough pill to swallow for sure. But yeah,
It's going to be interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see like what the Islanders do next. Like a lot of interest. I know like Teal Tank Glasses. We're going to talk about a few teams, but I don't think we're going to get to the Golden Knights or Islanders tomorrow. But I mean, there's going to be some interesting stuff with the other teams that just went out, and a lot of the decisions that some teams are going to have to make. It's going to be an interesting and short off season.
yeah,
And I can't wait because like it's going to be like one of the shortest off seasons we've had in a long time, and I'm pretty jacked about it.
yeah. I mean, looking at the layout of everything, so you have the Cup final starting on Monday. The 28th. If it
Hmm.
goes to Game 7, that's on July 11th.
Yeah,
We find out the expansion exposure list on the 17th, then the expansion draft on the 21st, then usually in between, you know, in that week we usually have like the scheduling coming out. Then the 23rd you're going to have the draft, and the 24th for rounds 2 through 7. And then I would think we're probably going to have some sort of prospect mini camp, either mid to late August, and then you're back in a training camp. And for a
yeah,
season, and the seasons that's probably going to go till you know mid to late April, only because you're going to have a slightly late start to get caught up. Plus, you also you're planning to go to the Olympics, which what kind of
yeah,
cluster f that could be, you, you know, with going to Beijing of all places. There's a potential nightmare scenario. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of players opt out just because of Beijing. Although I know the league is really wanting to go to China to get the game exposed to them a little bit more. But yeah, it's gonna be a quick off season. And hey, if you aren't already, you should hit the subscribe button because trust us, we'll be here to cover a lot of it, and we appreciate each and every one of you on there for it. So I think that's pretty much it, Ian,
yeah.
for everything. Tight little 30-minute show. Again, the Lightning win 1-0 over the Islanders. They advanced to the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row. Here's the other thing. Remember we had that big old list of former Sharks in there. You're down to two: Barclay Goodrow and assistant coach Rob Zettler, friend of the show, Rob Zettler, who I think we had interviewed around this time last year. Uh,
That's right.
yeah, so there's that, and that's it. You can, like I said, you can throw in Yanni Gourde, the former San Francisco Bull, who never played with the Sharks, uh, but was within their organization. But hey, let's lock up, load it, and have fun with it. You do us a favor. Who do you want to win the cup? If you're watching this live, put it in the live chat, or afterwards, put a comment down below and tell us about it. Teal tinted glasses will be on Sunday night. Uh-oh. There you are. Sunday night, Ian?
And we're here.
Okay.
Yeah, Sunday night. Sorry, I said tomorrow, but it is Friday right now. So yeah, Sunday night.
Gotcha. It's the weekend. It's totally fine. So, in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Always available at tealtownusa.com. We'll get that up in a little bit. But, Ian, thank you very much, as always, for doing this. It's always been fun doing these recap and preview shows. So your final thoughts and where people can find you.
Find me at Ian Blogs Hockey on the Twitter machine. Final thoughts. I mean, it's gonna be good, right? We get 2 more weeks maximum of hockey, so I mean, enjoy it, because once that's over, it gets really exciting really quick. You got the expansion draft coming, you got the draft coming, and obviously, and then once that happens, free agency. I don't know if the Sharks are going to be a big player in free agency, obviously, but so there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come fast and furious after the Cup is over, and we'll break it down as it comes. So make sure hit the likes and subscribes and all that fun stuff, because we will definitely, as stuff breaks, we will definitely be on here discussing it.
You a fan of the Fast and Furious series?
No, not really.
Okay. I was going to say, I wish we got a sponsor for that one.
No, I don't know.
You're good.
Not really, not at all, honestly.
I never got into those, but that's for a Discord chat down the road. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Teal Tinted Glasses will be on Sunday night with Ian, Kevin, and Jerk. So check out that, and then of course, when the Cup is raised, we will go live and talk about the whole season recap, and then get you set for the expansion draft, the entry draft, the schedule, and then free agent frenzy. And we might have a little surprise interview here or there, so be on the lookout for that. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That'll tell you when to check it all out. So for Ian Reed and everyone here, I am PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Until next time, keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real, Teal. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you Sunday night for Teal Tinted Glasses.